Python Day 1 by Demir Azwale. So the first lesson, this would be for everyone that was in the lesson to introduce themselves, like state their names and ages, and this would be going over the old core platform experience, but um, we were using a new one, which is run by Google, so it would be different, which is yeah, and then so after every class there would be a homework task that should be completed and sent to my email, which is written there. And if there are any questions, save it until yeah. So this is just an introduction to the course, as it's the first lesson. So the next slide. So by the end of today's class, you will know what to use to code Python and execute it, some basic syntaxes and what it does, and you will have created an account on Code Academy. So what is Python? Python is a high-level programming language. There are more than two versions, but there are two main versions, version 2 and version 3. The main difference is the main like there are many differences, but the main difference is that Python 3 uses parentheses. It can be used for web development, scripting, and data science, for example, machine learning. Introduction to editors and platforms. So once you've so yes, so there are many editors that you can use to code Python. For example, Notepad++, the Python idle that I want to show you. There's another one called Sublime Text. So what I'm going to be showing you is Python idle, and yeah, so that's easy to use and it's free. So on your web browser, search Python idle and click the first link and download it. I will show you how to get there, but I already downloaded it. So yeah, you should just. So if I type in Python idle, I'm on the MacBook, so I've typed in Mac, but for you it might be different. So if you wait, no, I typed in Python idle Mac. Yeah, so you should get this link here. If you click that, I mean, it might be different for you because I'm on the MacBook. So if you scroll down, wait, it's not this one. If you go to if you so go on the first link, go to downloads, and then you should see download Python 3.8.2, and then download that, and you should get an installer. Follow the instructions and download it. So if you go back to this presentation, it wants us now to create a Code Academy account. So search Code Academy in your web browser and create an account. And again, I've already got an account, so I'll just show you what to do and how to do it. So Code Academy is spelled codeacademy.com. Press enter, and then you should get to this page. So then you can, if you don't have an account, press the sign up button. You should see this page, and then it doesn't have to. So put your email in and your password, but don't put the password for your email, if that makes sense. So once you've done that, you should get to a page that you should get to our home page, and then once you get to that page, search for Python 2, and then you should see a course Learn Python 2, and that's the course that we'll be doing. Although we're going to be doing Python 3, so don't get confused. But I will keep reiterating it that Python 2 and Python 3 have many differences. So string, integers, and variables. So a string is named, or it's not named but it's named because is named because there are a series of letters, numbers, or symbols connected in order, as if threaded together by a string. So strings can be defined in different ways. Print. So I wrote two statements there. One is print double quote. This is a good string, and the second one is print single quote. You can use single quotes or double quotes for a string, and enclose a single quote. So while double quotes and single quotes are both acceptable ways to define a string needs to be opened and closed by the same type of mark or quotes mark. Okay, so if you put a single quote and a double quote at the end of without closing the single quote, it will give you an error for a mismatched quote, which we will go further into it later on. So an integer is any whole number, for example 7 or 8. When writing it in a print statement, it does not need any quotation marks. A variable is a reserved memory location to store values. Python uses variables to define things that are subject to change. So below, the text symbols are both variables. One of the first one is a string as it has quotation marks, and the second one is a integer as it doesn't. So handling errors. So as we get more familiar with the Python programming language, we run into errors and exceptions. These are complaints that Python makes when it doesn't understand what you want it to do. So everyone can get these issues, and it's a good habit to read and understand them. So below are two errors that would normally happen when writing strings. So the first one is that it has mismatched quotes. So one of them is double, one of them single, which would cause a syntax error. And the second one, it has no quotes, so it will cause a name error. So a syntax error, this means what's a syntax error? This means that there was an error in the syntax, which is just like the way the Python language works. So there was an error in that. So syntax error (EOL) while scanning a string literal. This means that the string wasn't closed or wasn't closed with the same type of quote character that it started with. So the homework for today would be to go on Code Academy. Actually, let me give you an introduction to Code Academy. So I'll go on my other account. Hold on. Yeah. And then if I go on Code Academy, and yes, so this is the course that we should be working on. If you haven't done it before, then it should be this one. If you click on it, and then so I'll give you an introduction to the first one, and then the homework would be, or the homework to work through the rest of the Code Academy module about syntaxes that we did in class up to slide number 6. So if I go back to the first one to show you how to do it. So here it's let me restart this so I can explain it properly. So when you first load into this, you should just see a blank screen like this. So this is its own editor. So as you can see, there are numbered lines. In other editors, the lines are numbered, but it's not visible, and it's not part of the line. So when you're actually writing in the Python idle we downloaded, you shouldn't include like numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so here is just telling what I taught you about print statements. So a print statement is the easiest way to get your Python program to communicate with you. So it wants us to create a print statement to output a message of your choosing to the terminal. And this is the terminal. This is where we output whatever we code here. And then, so this button is to reset the code in case you made too many mistakes and you want to start again. This is that's copy to clipboard, which is common sense, just copy. This is the run icon, which runs your code and hopefully outputs you whatever your result is to the console. So I'll just print double quotation. I'm gonna use double quotes for this. So print hello. This is a string, and then run it, and then it should print that. So I want you to do that. Well, I mean that was the homework for them. So whoever, if you're watching this and you haven't done that, so yeah, you'll need to do this up to slide number 6. And if you click that 3 lines at the bottom left, you should see these numbers. And so right now we are on number 11. So you should work through all of these up to number 6. Thank you.